Knowing how expensive it is to live in London, how far is that £500,000 going to go?
Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and that you had a great week. To all of my house guests, come in, make yourselves at home, make yourselves comfortable. If you're passing by and you'd like to become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I'm Chez, this is Chez M0i. Welcome to my place.
I didn't think I would, and I had absolutely no intention to, but I did. What did I do? I watched William's two-part documentary on ITV. Why, you may ask? Because I thought I should at least try to be objective about what he's attempting to do, since I've been asking the question for such a long time now. Unsurprisingly, just like Boris Johnson, in order to generate some interest, William had to mention his brother's name, which was used in the trailer to promote the show.
My mother took me to the passage. She took Harry and I both there. That's when it dawned on me that there are other people out there who don't have the same life as you do.
Essentially, the trailer was the equivalent of clickbait, leading various media quarters to jump to the misguided conclusion that William was holding out an olive branch to Harry. At various points during the documentary, photos of both boys with their mother were shown. I guess to add a bit of context, but I didn't get the impression at any time that an olive branch was being waved around. I was pleased to see, however, that on one or two occasions in the documentary, William was reminded that this is not a play project, but a very serious matter.
I'm conscious that it's a team environment, it's a team game, so please do feel free to pile in when you need to.
I hope you mean that.
I do mean that.
Sorry, I'm jumping the queue.
You can, go for it.
No, I mean, we need the expertise of everybody. We've had local authorities working here, we've had charities working there, we've had government departments working there. We need now to put all of the failed thinking that has gone into homelessness over the last 30 years behind us. And we've all got to come together. So when William says he wants to converge it, that's what I want. And I don't really want to have any bullshit.
John will happily tell me if it's not going well, so he is very direct and quite right. I mean, he's seen many attempts come and go over the past, so it's important people like John buy into what we're doing.
William's ambitious plan is to end homelessness, but he says he can't do it on his own. So he is leaning on the expertise of a multitude of social agencies and has also recruited a team of people who've experienced homelessness themselves to go out into the field to do some research select individuals as a case study who then meet William to explain what has happened to them.
The Prince of Wales is launching a major project today. He says he wants to end homelessness.
Prince William says his 5-year project is to ensure all types of homelessness are rare, brief and unrepeated.
Good morning, everybody. Today is the day we launch Homewards, a transformative 5-year programme that will demonstrate that it is possible to end homelessness.
Adverse domestic situations, job loss, mental impairment, and substance misuse are only 4 of many, many reasons why someone may end up homeless. And until you tackle the root causes, the consequence will almost always be the same. William's hope is that his 5-year plan will become a template adapted and replicated by local authorities throughout the UK, and that's how homelessness will be eradicated. Do you guys remember a show called Extreme Makeover Home Edition? I absolutely loved that show. The shock on the homeowners' faces always used to make me cry. I don't think they show it in the UK anymore, or it could be on another channel that I don't actually watch. However, if you recall, the format of the show is along the lines of people sending in a video explaining why they believe their home is deserving of a makeover. Oftentimes, the current home is too small to accommodate a growing family, or it's unsuitable due to a disability, or the home is a health hazard or almost derelict. The selected family receives a bespoke redesign of their home, which is rebuilt to accommodate the needs and requirements. What is not anticipated, maybe a year or two later, is that the new accommodation becomes unsustainable because underlying issues were never addressed, such as the owner's inability to manage a much larger property and no increase in income to cover the increase in the cost of utilities, i.e. gas, electricity and water. So, in many cases, the solution, which was meant to be permanent, turned out to be anything but. In a wealthy economy such as the UK, homelessness is a deeply entrenched problem that a 5-year programme concentrated in just 6 regions isn't going to solve. I'm not clear on what happens after the 5 years, and neither am I clear on what will happen to the temporary homes built on the piece of William's land he's designated for construction. This does not sound like a long-term solution to me, and it just seems like William wants to be seen to be doing something.
Each of the 6 chosen locations is receiving an initial £500,000 funding from the Royal Foundation, through which the Prince has created Homewards. But not everyone has welcomed his involvement.
The Prince of Wales has already faced accusations surrounding his own privilege.
There has been some criticism of the Prince's plans because of the multiple homes he owns.
Some believe the Prince is coming uncomfortably close to meddling in matters of policy.
There will be some people who might question whether you're the right person to lead this project and its efforts to end homelessness. How would you respond to that?
I think everyone having a right to a safe and stable home benefits us all. I come with no other agenda than desperately trying to help people who are in need. And I see that as part of my role, is that why else would I be here if I'm not using this role properly to influence and help people where I can. And I like a big challenge. I do like that, but I can't do it on my own.
But he says he loves a challenge. So let's see how long this lasts. On the other side of the pond, Harry, who doesn't need his brother's name to promote anything he's doing because his own name carries sufficient weight, addressed NATO this week. This piece is taken from NATO's website, nato.int, published on the 30th of October 2024, and the headline reads, Invictus Games demonstrate the unconquerable soul of veterans. On 30th of October, the Invictus Games Foundation briefed the NATO Military Committee at NATO headquarters on the role of Invictus in supporting wounded, injured and sick service members and veterans. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, addressed the Military Committee via VTC, with the delegation attending the meeting in person. The delegation included Dominic Reid, Chief Executive of Invictus, Lord Allen, Chancellor of the Board of Trustees, and Richard Smith, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer. The delegation briefed the Military Committee on the breadth and development of the Invictus programme and the progress it is making to expand the scope of its mission. The core purpose of Invictus is to support the recovery and rehabilitation of wounded, injured and sick service members through sport and adventure. The Invictus Games Foundation is working to continue establishing a global community where rehabilitation and recovery are better enabled and understood. This is primarily through the delivery of the Invictus Games, taking place in different host cities every 2 years around the globe, but also through a multi-layered programme beyond the Games, which aims to build a network amongst global wounded, injured and sick veterans and promote advocacy of Invictus. Meeting with representatives of the Invictus Games Foundation provided a platform for the NATO Military Committee to explore and learn how allied nations can establish or develop a relationship with the Invictus Games. Admiral Bauer emphasised the importance of protecting allied wounded servicemen and women, veterans and their families. He highlighted the invaluable support and hope the Invictus Games Foundation provides to the unconquerable souls of inspirational wounded, injured and sick service members and veterans. I believe the work of the Invictus Games Foundation to be very important, and it strikes at the heart of our shared values as military personnel. Admiral Bauer conveyed the power of the Invictus Games Foundation in reaching far beyond the games themselves, changing and sometimes even saving the lives of both the wounded soldiers and their families. Today's Military Committee session follows up a meeting between the Chair of the Military Committee, Admiral Rob Bauer, and Prince Harry in May 2024, where Admiral Bauer attended a service of Thanksgiving at St Paul's Cathedral in London. Now, rather than keep the focus of the report on the main topic, as you would expect from these tabloids, they decided to focus on a framed photo of Harry and Meghan on their wedding day. Typical of the sort of item displayed on millions of shelves in millions of homes across the globe. And staying on the subject of things that are normal, why have Meghan's detractors in recent weeks been so concerned about her not wearing her engagement ring, as if that somehow reinforces their unfounded theories that the Sussexes are separated? However, when Diana's engagement ring is no longer present on Kate's finger, why is that not viewed as negative? After all, that particular piece of jewellery is unmistakably distinctive, is it not? Despite the UK media's desperation to extinguish everything the Sussexes do, their ability to remain productive and consistent eliminates any desire for them to lean on the institution to bring attention to their projects and their causes. The institution, on the other hand, despite it trying to portray itself as warm and fuzzy, is happy to treat the Sussexes as a pariah.
First time that we saw the other members of the family was in public at Westminster Abbey.
This is the last time we'll see the Duke and Duchess of Sussex with the Queen and the royal family on an engagement, and it's significant.
We were nervous seeing the family because all the TV cameras and everybody watching at home and everybody watching the audience, it's like living through a soap opera where everybody else views you as entertainment.
You really do have to wonder what was going through their minds.
I felt really distant from the rest of my family, which was interesting because so much of how they operate is about what it looks like rather than what it feels like. It looked cold, but it also felt cold.
Was it all fake? Was it all just a show? Because if we couldn't stand up for one another, rally around our newest member, our first biracial member, then what were we really? Was that a real family?
In the services that we saw here today, they weren't even in the procession. That also sort of showing where things are already automatically changing.
Despite that, however, the institution sees nothing wrong in shamelessly using the names of the Sussexes to further their own agendas, their own causes, and their own projects. So guys, I was not planning to watch this documentary, as I'd said at the beginning. I watched it, however, because of another reason. I have actually been homeless in my teens. Won't go into the story, won't bore you with the details, but needless to say, it's not a nice experience. And any of my house guests, any of you watching who've been homeless, you know exactly what that feels like. Now, with regard to William saying that he's, passionate about wanting to see people in a home, that's fair enough. Despite him sleeping rough many years ago for one night, he still, I believe, doesn't really understand what it is like to be homeless. That's something he will never experience in his life. For many, many, many people, not only in this country, but around the world, this is their life. They have no roof over their head. And while William can be commended, I guess, for doing what he's doing, as far as I am concerned, little old me, it's not enough. When you take into consideration £500,000 for one area, let's take London, for instance. It's not even the whole of London. It's one borough in South London, Lambeth. £500,000 to tackle the homelessness problem in one of the 30 odd boroughs in London. Now, knowing how expensive it is to live in London, how far is that £500,000 going to go? So then you add on the other 5 areas. That whole amount equates to £3 million. £3 million from the Royal Foundation. £3 million. Looking at recent figures from the royal.uk, that's the royal family's website, one of them, I guess. The annual income for the Prince of Wales via the Duchy of Cornwall was £21 million. £100 million was received to be distributed for charitable causes and good works. Now, those figures, I don't know how recent they are, but let's just apply them to William right now. So are you telling me that the £100 million for good causes and philanthropy, only £3 million of that is going towards homelessness, this Homewards project? Now, this is a 5-year project, okay? Started in June 2023. This is almost a year and a half ago, so we have just over 3.5 years left. What's happened to that £3 million in the last 17 months? Where are these houses? Have these people been housed? And why is it only 5 years? The reason I say that is because if you look historically at William's grandfather, Duke of Edinburgh, he was responsible for the Duke of Edinburgh Awards. School friends of mine have taken part in that initiative, and they said it was one of the best things they ever did. William's father, Charles, he was responsible for the Prince's Trust, which is now the King's Trust. They have helped many, many, many young people. Some of them have even become millionaires. Okay. And that's an ongoing commitment from William's grandfather and father. Harry started Invictus Games just over 10 years ago. Before he met Meghan, wasn't married, no kids. Okay, Meghan has now joined him and is helping him with that. It's an ongoing commitment. He didn't just say, oh, I'll do it for 5 years and then back off. Why is William backing off after 5 years? What happens after 5 years? What happens? Because for every person that you find a home for, there's going to be one that is on the street, because this is an ongoing problem. And that's why it's hard for me to say that William will solve this problem. I mean, he's saying that he needs help, but at the end of the day, he's just put his name to something and delegated tasks. And that's why I'm glad that Lord John Bird said to him, what he said to him. You guys saw you guys heard the audio. Because this is not a joke. It's a very serious social issue, not just in the UK, but globally. And speaking of which, I happened to find out when I was producing this video that this documentary has actually been franchised to Disney+. So American viewers would have been able to see the documentary on Friday just gone. Now, when it comes to commercial endeavours, why is there a big hoo-ha when Harry and Meghan do anything with Netflix or any other commercial entity? But British viewers are not allowed to know that William has had dealings or an arrangement with Disney+ for this documentary to go out. So you're telling me that he's not receiving any money from that? He's not receiving commercial benefit from that? It's very interesting. As I said, they keep using Harry's name for these things that they're doing. Boris Johnson did it at the beginning of October. William's done it at the end of October. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 1 to 2 months, maybe even into next year, how they're going to use the Sussexes' name. And when we talk about the Sussexes, this whole idea that Meghan can't even go out without her engagement ring, but other female members of the royal family can. If Meghan had one day left her house and she was photographed without her wedding ring, these people's heads would pop off. Pop off. That's how much time and energy they have scouring Meghan's hands to see what jewellery adorns her fingers. And finally, with regard to the weight of Harry's name, it would appear that Harry's name has made it all the way to Family Feud, the British version of which is Family Fortunes. So as I wrap up this video and end with that clip, if your thoughts were provoked in any way, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I want to take this opportunity to thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and you shall catch me in the next video.
Top 6 answers on the board. Tell me something people know about Prince Harry.
He's married to Meghan Markle.
Come on, boy.
They said wait for me to look at me.
Okay, well, I guess he figured he gone. He's married to Meghan Markle.
We're gonna play.